Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 190. Today, we are back for another weekly episode. We are talking about the NBA offseason today. Obviously, the NBA draft was last week. We're here to react to it. A little bit of a late reaction, and then we're talking about free agency, which opens up on Friday. Super exciting.
Yeah, it's the best time in the NBA, other than the NBA or the playoffs.
Yeah, the offseason is so fun.
So much fun, so much movement, and we've already started to see some of that movement come through with the Chris Paul trade. We might as well hop right in with that.
Yeah, exactly. We can get right in with that. Obviously, this happened before the NBA draft, but it happened in between our last podcast. Chris Paul traded to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and some other random player, along with a second-round pick and a 2030 protected pick. Yes, we are now into 2030 picks being able to be traded as of this offseason. It's like top 20 protected, so it's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, the Wizards are able to get a little bit more capital out of Chris Paul. Obviously, the Kristaps Porzingis trade, along with the Bradley Beal trade, did not get much of a return for the Wizards, but they're able to get finally a young piece that they can build with in Jordan Poole, as well as a first-round pick. It's not the greatest one in the world, but it is something, which I thought Chris Paul was just going to get waived, so it definitely is somewhat of a W for the Wizards.
Yeah, it's plus value. We both sat here and didn't expect him to be traded because we didn't think any team would offer anything up. The Warriors is such an it came out of nowhere.
Totally.
Nobody expected Chris Paul to end up a Warrior, and here we are, especially with their background and their history. You know, Steph and Chris Paul have been going at it since 2014, damn near.
Yeah.
They've been having issues and beefing, and that all can be glossed over, but I'm really excited for this. The fact that the Wizards kind of turned this whole thing, this offseason around, because for a second it was like, wait a second. You traded away everything and got nothing between Bradley Beal and Kristaps. But now there's a return in Jordan Poole. There's a start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where they actually go for the rest of the offseason because they've got more decisions to make.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not the end of it.
It's not a Paul George type of return that you got to start your rebuild. But also you're kicking off your rebuild better than the Pistons did. The Pistons had no assets to go and get when they started their rebuild. So it's definitely something for the Wizards. Kyle Kuzma is a free agent. I would hope that they try to facilitate some sort of sign and trade with him so they can get something out of him, whether it's, even just a bad first down the future or some kind of player. But yeah, the Warriors getting Chris Paul. Weird. It's weird. I'm excited to see how it's going to work because Chris Paul obviously doesn't play the type of game that the Warriors play. They are a fast-paced team. He gets shots up at will, and Chris Paul is known to be the pick you apart point guard. He'll dice through the lane, pick and rolls all day. It's going to be interesting to see him and Steph together. I assume Chris Paul is going to start. I doubt they traded for him to be the sixth man, but who knows? I'm not really sure. I don't know what that starting lineup is going to look like, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Chris Paul because I assume that the Warriors won't adapt to Chris Paul because they don't adapt to anybody. And I'm excited to see how Chris Paul adapts to the system that the new system he's playing in. We've never seen him have to play like this off-ball movement. You catch it and you have a second to either dribble pass it or shoot it. We've never seen Chris Paul have to do that. You see him a lot of times holding the ball for 10 to 12 seconds, having 3 or 4 pick and rolls in one possession, manipulating matchups. It's going to be super interesting. I hope the Warriors still do use a little bit of that, though. I mean, that's what Chris Paul is best at. If there's a matchup on the floor, he can make the matchup appear. I'm really, really curious to see how this all works. Like you said, I'm not sure Chris Paul starts next year.
Yeah, I really don't know.
It's just such a weird, it'd almost be awesome for him to run a second unit with, whatever happens with whoever they have in their second unit. We have no idea right now. I wouldn't even mind seeing him do that until the playoffs come in. But then you're closing lineup, a backcourt of Chris Paul and Steph Curry. But how different is Chris Paul and Jordan Poole for a closing lineup defensively? It's probably still a little bit worse, Chris Paul. But I'm really curious to see how this all works out.
Yeah, it's going to be, and I assume that they're going to use Chris Paul to his strengths. But yeah, it's Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s first move as the GM of the Warriors is definitely a questionable one. After he said they asked him about Poole, and he said, I want Jordan Poole to play for the Warriors for at least 4 more years. and then they trade him. Obviously, this has a lot to do with the new CBA salary cap rules that are going to kick in after next season, or I think it's in 2 seasons actually. And you'll hear a lot of that going around, but it's to prepare for it because it's going to essentially change the way you can build your roster. You're not going to be able to have 5 dudes on max contracts anymore. So they're kind of preparing with Chris Paul being on a last year of his contract. Jordan Poole just signed that 4-year extension. You know, they're trying to prepare for maybe we can extend Draymond now that we have Chris Paul coming off the books after next year, and not have Jordan Poole on the books. You're going to see a lot of these trades, I feel like, throughout this offseason and next offseason, teams preparing for this new salary cap rule that could affect the way that teams are built, honestly.
You were the first person to, like, when this trade went through, you kind of broke that down for me. I hadn't even thought about that's what teams are kind of starting to prepare for. But you made that very clear. It's like, well, they have to, or else they're screwed in a couple of years with the tax and everything. And I think you're right. We're now preparing for more big deals to happen with teams who are scared to go into that second tier or whatever the tiers are, however it works.
I haven't got read into it too descriptively yet. Obviously, once it comes around, we'll all get used to it. But
there's nothing more confusing than NBA contracts and NBA money and how it all works, because it seems like these teams are like the MLB, have as much money as they want at times. It's like, wait a second, how are they paying this guy?
Exactly.
And they just do it anyways.
A great follow on Twitter is Keith Smith. He works for Spotrac, which is like the contract website that you go to that breaks down everything. He basically breaks down a lot of contract things with teams and players, and it's still confusing, but it helps you kind of realize how things, why that happens and stuff like that. And obviously we can hop right into it this one, but the John Collins trade is a clear move by the Atlanta Hawks to prepare for this second apron that is going to come in a couple
years. That's
the word
I was looking for.
Yeah. Obviously John Collins traded to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a second-round pick. Not a great haul for a guy that you wouldn't trade years back because you believed in him going forward.
That's one of the worst get-backs ever of a guy who was demanding a max contract.
Exactly, and got a max contract at the time, you know.
Rudy Gay? This guy isn't he's hardly...
Rudy Gay will get waived.
He's not really a player in today's NBA anymore. He hasn't been a player for years
I wonder how many minutes a game Rudy Gay played last year. I don't think it's a lot, you know. And
what a crazy
Utah
move.
can afford to take on John Collins because they have Lauri Markkanen on such a steal of a contract. They're off of Rudy Gobert. They're off of Donovan Mitchell. They're off of Mike Conley. They don't have a lot of big deals right now, so they can afford to take on Collins for the rest of his contract and see what they can get out of him for this cheap of a price. Sure.
Utah's got something fun going on over there.
I was going to say, Utah also has a lot of forwards now. You know, Walker Kessler, who was a standout rookie last year. Obviously, Lauri Markkanen broke out, most improved player. They now add John Collins. They drafted Taylor Hendricks. I'm missing someone too. Who was their 4 last year? Because Lowry was the 3. I'm missing someone.
Yeah, you are. It wasn't Derek Favors. It wasn't.
No. Why can't I think of who it was?
I don't know. Who it is.
But either way, they have a group of forwards now.
Well, it was Jared Vanderbilt.
It was Jared Vanderbilt, but it's not
Who'd
Jared
it become?
Vanderbilt. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm not missing a guy. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you're not.
But it's going to be interesting to see how they use all of these guys.
They've got some fun going on over there.
They do.
They've got something crazy is going on in Utah, which is not a statement that is said very often.
Brian Windhorst said it a couple years ago. He knew it.
He started pointing them fingers.
And he just said something the other day about the Cavs.
Everything.
He
They're
said,
going
keep
crazy.
an eye on the Cavs. And it was like, whoa, dude, what does that mean? But yeah, the Atlanta Hawks clearly preparing for the new cap that's going to hit in a couple years. Obviously, Trae Young on a max deal. DeJounte Murray is on a steal of a contract, but I believe this upcoming year is the last year of it. He's only making $18 million. Obviously, he's going to demand a max contract. Onyeka Okongwu is going to have to get paid at some point. They have plenty of young guys. Sadiq Bey even is going to have to get paid this offseason. So they're preparing for that by dumping John Collins, essentially. It finally happened, though. He finally got traded.
Yeah, I honestly expected DeJounte Murray or Trae Young to be traded this offseason.
Which it could still happen.
Before I thought John Collins was going to get traded. It just felt like everybody had forgotten that John Collins... Do you see the picture that came out about his finger?
Collins'
finger?
Yeah.
He's got a messed up... he had a finger injury at some point.
Yeah.
And his ring finger on his right hand is so massive.
Like, oh, really?
It is humongous.
Like just swollen, it looks like?
It's the size of like damn near a golf ball, I would say.
Permanently like that, probably?
They said it's been like that, and it isn't going to get better. Like, his finger is permanently damaged.
Really? I wonder
like
how
that.
much that affects his shooting, dude.
I don't know. I saw a TikTok about it, and he went in to mention all the other guys with messed up hands. Like, Sean Marion had a super messed up finger. Do you know Davis Bertans is missing part of his
I actually
ring
did know
finger?
that. I've seen something
And
about
that dude's like a
that.
shooter.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's true.
No excuses,
He's a
John
Latvian
Collins.
laser, yeah.
There's no excuses.
Okay, let's get into some draft talk, though. Let's talk about the Pistons before we do our free agency prediction. The Detroit Pistons selected Asor Thompson from the Overtime Elite League on Thursday. We're recording this on Wednesday night, by the way, so we're past, like, everyone knows about this. We're not going to do, like, our winners and losers because who cares about that at this point?
Everybody's a winner.
Exactly, yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy here.
But Asor Thompson selected at 5th overall, and then they move up from 31 back into the first round at 25 to take Marcus Sasser out of Houston. What a fun draft this was for the Pistons because it wasn't like a crazy one. I feel like all of Troy Weaver's drafts, except for like the Cade one, which maybe getting the first pick made it crazy. Like his first 3 drafts as a Pistons GM were wild. He's traded up to get 2 more first-round picks in the first one, got the first overall pick and took Cade, and then last year made the crazy trade to get Jalen Duren after we thought we got nothing for Jeremy Grant, and he turned it into Jalen Duren.
We just fleeced the whole league.
Exactly.
The whole league.
The Knicks were just trying to get hella picks just so they could trade for a superstar, and they haven't. So the Knicks have like 5 first-round picks next year, 4 or 5.
They got to make a move. Like they're a team that is right there where it's like, if you're a sign and trade destination, talk to the Knicks. The Knicks are the perfect spot.
For sure.
I mean, RJ Barrett, they've got Q Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly. They have so many young assets.
And
Mitch
they have
Robinson.
Contracts and Evan Fournier, and that's about it.
Who's the GM over there?
It's Rose, I believe.
That guy
Leon
stinks.
Rose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That guy stinks.
Think so?
No, he's done a good job.
But yeah, let's get back to the Pistons, though. Asor Thompson, 5th overall. How satisfied or excited are you for Asor Thompson?
I was pumped. At first, I was like, man, right away, I was like, yeah, I like Asor Thompson. He was probably the next guy after Cam Whitmore. And I felt extremely good about it as Cam Whitmore continued to fall and fall, and he eventually got drafted. But watching Asar Thompson this season, I think he's a great fit. Defensively, he's super athletic. He doesn't fix our shooting woes, but we can address that. We address that later in the draft. We'll be good on shooting. We've got shooters. Yeah. It was awesome to see him get picked back to back with his brother. And
for sure,
I as I've dove more into these guys, I think they're going to be monsters.
And it seems like everyone is rooting for them too. Like,
Everybody.
they're just genuine guys. Like they're twins, got picked 4th and 5th. Like that is so cool. I think everyone's rooting for him. Of course, I'm rooting for a man as well. Like it's going to be awesome. I think that the Asor Thompson pick, I love it for the defensive thing, because a lot of people not a lot of people, but some Pistons fans are upset about the shooting. Like we didn't, that was the biggest thing. We need to get shooters for Cade and Ivy. We have a bunch of big men that all can't space the floor. And now we get a wing that can't space the floor that well either. I think it's about the defensive thing. You look at all of the great teams in the NBA, and they all have several big wing defenders that can take on the other team's best player so that guys like Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey don't have to do it. Not saying those guys are poor defenders. Jaden Ivey was a pretty poor defender his rookie year, but you don't want them guys to have to do that. It's like that with even like guys like Kawhi Leonard. I mean, you don't even see him guarding the best dude anymore. It's just you need him offensively.
Yeah, it's kind of just like I shouldn't even say basic, but it's just kind of how basketball has become. You don't see best players guarding best players like they used to as often.
Exactly. It's cool and everything, but like is it really smart strategically?
No. You don't got to wear your number one offensive guy on defense. You don't got to wear him out. He's your whole offense.
Exactly. And that's why I love this pick, because I think Asor Thompson is going to be that wing defender that is going to guard the best perimeter player of a team every game. Whether it's a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, like he's going to take that assignment, and I'm excited for that. And also, in the fast break, I mean, these dudes could be the 2 fastest dudes in the draft. And we got the fastest dude in the draft last year, too. Like, imagine the break with Ivy and Asor, dude. With Cade or even Killian, like, on the break. Like, throwing them lobs and just, oh, my gosh. I mean, these guys are going to be electric.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was leaving it on the table because you were the first guy to bring it up to me.
Right.
And what an awesome point These guys are going to be, you get the ball out and you can outlet it to any of those three, and the other two are running the wings up the floor, and it is going to be pull-up middies, dunks on your head, and you're
look out.
It's going to be so much fun to watch these guys play offense together. I think, honestly, the defense is so important. And you mentioned, because like now we have the guy who, you know, when we get to a point where we have to guard, you know, Devin Booker, here's our matchup.
Right.
Because I'm not confident in Cade Cunningham guarding Devin Booker or Ivy.
Exactly. And like even if like I was confident in them, I would rather have someone else there to do it. You know?
If we go play the Celtics, who's going to guard, you know, I guess either they've got the Jays who are a problem for everybody. But we go play the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, here's our James Harden matchup.
Exactly. I'm comfortable putting Cade on Tyrese Maxey.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
Stuff like that.
Yes, I'm so excited for this.
And I think I would think that Bojan Bogdanovic is safe after this pick, you know, because he really is like the floor spacer. He's the primary shooter of our team. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is coming back, is going to help, but I think with us taking a not shooter forward, I would expect Bojan sticks around, which I would want him to, obviously, because he is very crucial to our team, especially for this year if we're looking to turn that corner. And then Marcus Sasser with the 25th pick. Marcus Sasser, if you guys aren't college basketball guys, the last several years, probably the last 2 or 3 years, Marcus Sasser has been one of, if the not best guards in the country in college basketball. He's an older player. I believe he's 21 or 22. Definitely going to be 22 by the time the season starts if he's still 21. But dude just gets buckets. I mean, he's not a traditional point guard. I doubt he's going to run a lot of, you know, playmaking type point guard like Killian did. He is a bucket getter. I mean, he is going to splash threes. He takes it to the rack. He's crafty. I love watching his game.
Yeah, his only knock, the only reason he fell even to 25 here was his size. If this guy is 6'4", he's a top 12 draft pick. I'm so excited. I'm more excited about him than I am about Asar.
Really?
Because Sasser is a dog. When you watch, I mean, defensively, he's a monster on defense for how little he is. He's super active. I've seen the comparisons right away to Davion Mitchell with how active he is on defense, how quick he really is. But this guy can flat out score the basketball, which is something sometimes it feels like our backcourt can't lack, like the shot making of hitting all the threes, a bunch of threes in a row. Now we have this answer in our backcourt.
Exactly.
I think it makes our backcourt a little more versatile. Do you think this is a sign of anything to come with Killian?
And that I was actually just going to bring that up. I don't think so. I honestly think this means that Killian is safe. Because Killian and Marcus Sasser, I think, complement each other very well. I mean, like, I understand that we just brought back Alec Burks today. Alec Burks and Isaiah Livers team options were both picked up. Love having both those guys. Probably 2 out of our 3 best three-point shooters. So, obviously, love to have those guys. But I think Marcus Sasser fills in that Alec Burks role, you know, and after next year. I think Sasser probably doesn't get a lot of run this year. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I think Killian and Sasser would complement each other well because Killian, one of his best things is finding shooters. You know, he's very good at it. And Sasser isn't just a catch and shoot guy. He can create for himself, and Killian is good at finding guys that can create for themselves. So I think they would complement each other well. And Killian's big enough, you know, where they can. I don't love the idea of Sasser being the lone like playmaker out there. You know, I think he has to be out there with Killian, Cade, or Ivy, which I don't see a world where he wouldn't be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I could see him jumping Killian in minutes, though. I could see him jumping him. Like, it might not start off right away at the year, but if Killian gets off to a slow start and Marcus Sasser gets some moments early in the year,
I agree,
performs, there's a very good chance that Marcus Sasser becomes our third guard in the rotation and gets big-time minutes this season. I think that's why I'm so excited about him.
Yeah, for sure. And especially...
I know Asar is going to play. I want to see somebody who might be able to do something crazy.
Yeah,
this
especially
season.
As a later pick, too.
Yes.
You know, like it's and especially with new head coach Monty Williams. It's not like Dwayne Casey where he had a short leash he let guys have their moments. You know, this year it's going to be a lot of, if you're not playing well, you're not going to play. You know, it's like that. We're done with the letting you try things out. You know, like we're trying to win games here. Obviously, they're trying to win games at all times, but you know, when Killian has 3 missed shots in a row and a turnover, and he gets frustrated with himself, and they keep him out there, it's like that's not going to happen anymore this year. So. I definitely could see a world where Sasser, you know, jumps Killian in the rotation. Maybe Killian gets moved at that point. There's still a good chance Killian gets moved this offseason as well. I just don't know what the market is.
I just like Killian, though.
Him.
Like, Killian can still be good.
I
think Killian is solid.
Killian can be good for what we need him to do.
He can be a perennial backup for us.
He's not good as a 7th overall pick, you know, but you have to live with that now. Any other picks in the draft that, like, I know we're like a week off, so we don't have to go through a lot, but any other picks in the draft that you liked as far as for a specific prospect or maybe for the location that a guy went, like what any type of things like that?
Yeah, I think the Orlando Magic made an incredible move at number 6 with Anthony Black. I love that pick by them.
I mocked it, by the way. Like,
absolutely crazy. But you get your guard their guards haven't been great. I mean, Suggs has struggled. Right. It tosses more competition into a team that has to start looking to turn the corner. Mm-hmm. They are in the similar spot.
This is their
the
year for sure.
If they don't start turning the corner, a lot of questions are going to be raised, and then you might be stuck in this. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but stuck in mediocrity, I guess would be a good word, where they might just not be able to get over. And I think, they got to start winning some games. And I think adding the competition level of Anthony Black and that competitiveness, I think he could be really, really good in Orlando playing with those guys.
I think so, too. I like and Fultz obviously, like, has not broken out because obviously he was the first overall pick, but, like, he's become a good player, which at one point it didn't seem like that was going to happen. But Fultz is, like, the only sure thing, like, player on that, or like guard on that Magic squad. Suggs has had his ups and downs. Cole Anthony is the same way. He can score, but what kind of contract is he going to look for after this season? So I think getting Black, and he's a bigger guard, and that's exactly what the Magic love. They love getting their big players at every position, and the other thing they love is getting Michigan Wolverines, and they freaking drafted Jet Howard as well, which is just hilarious because they have Jet, Franz, Mo, Caleb Houston. They used to have Brasdinkus. Like, what a crazy thing that the Magic are doing over there.
It is really weird how they are they like the Michigan guys,
especially Jet, because like Jet was not a Michigan guy. I mean, he obviously is a Michigan guy, but like he's not. All them other guys kind of have like a similar type of game.
Yeah.
Not Jet.
No.
I think Jet could be good though.
I think Orlando's a great landing spot for Jet.
I was quite surprised though that he went over Kobe Buffkin. I will say that. I was very surprised by that. A lot of people are high on Buffkin. He's in Atlanta now though, so it's going to be tough to see. One of my favorite pickups though, I really did like what Dallas did, moving from 10 to 12 and still getting Derek Lively the second, because they obviously need a rim protector, and he could come in and be that guy right away for sure. They had to take on the Rashawn Holmes contract. The Kings wanted to clear up a bunch of cap space for this offseason, but literally moving down 2 spots, and all you had to do was take on a player. You literally didn't have to give up anything. You'll definitely take that. Or no, they took on they gave up the Bertans contract.
Yes.
And then in the other trade to get the pick 20-something, they took on Rashawn Holmes. That's what it was. So they got off of Davis Bertans, got on a cheaper contract in Rashawn Holmes, and still got Derek Lively. I liked that one.
Does Rashawn Holmes have a future in Dallas?
Potentially. I mean, maybe. Like, Dwight Powell's a free agent, I'm pretty sure. So, like, they might just need someone to get minutes there. But Holmes has not seen the floor in, like, 2 years.
That dude was a baller. Remember the stretch that year?
He did.
Where he was like a hooper. And I remember that fantasy year. He was like the guy.
He was a good pickup, yeah. And now he just, like, is nothing now.
He don't even play.
One of my other favorite ones was Jordan Hawkins to the New Orleans Pelicans. I like that pick. They took kind of a risky pick in Dyson Daniels last year, and we don't know if he's going to work out or not. But I think it's very fair to say that Jordan Hawkins will be a good bench scorer in the NBA for years and years to come, which is a good pick for a team that has a lot of forwards and, bigger players as well. So I like the Jordan Hawkins fit with the Pelicans.
Yeah, he's a beast for real. I think he's going to be really, really good in the NBA. I love obviously the UConn, but the Ray Allen comparisons are just so sick.
I mean, he's one of the best. He's probably the best, like, off the catch shooter in this draft. I'm like not just like catch and shoot. I'm like coming off a screen, like off balance catch, like JJ Redick,
some crazy
Ray
shit.
Allen, like where you're like flailing in midair, barely getting it up. Like that's his shot.
Your feet barely touch the ground, and you went up with it. I love that stuff. Are we good with the draft?
Yeah, and I wrote like I like Jarris Walker to Indiana. Like that was
that's just a money pick.
It was just made sense for him to go there. But yeah, there's really nothing else. Like I just am super excited about Asor Thompson with the Pistons.
Yeah, there was definitely a surprise at 2 and 3 with Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. Sure. Who knows what direction Trailblazers are really going in, because they say one thing and then they do the other, and they've got some confusing stuff. We'll really see with Jeremy Grant.
Right.
What they do with Jeremy Grant will tell us what's going on.
And Dame had that meeting with the GM, and basically that was supposed to be the meeting that was like whether or not Dame gets traded or not, and apparently it went like Dame said like there's no pressure on you guys to like build around me, like to make crazy trades to like win now. Like obviously I want to win, but like don't do anything that you don't want to do, basically. Which is like how Dame has always been. Like
nothing's
Dame
changed,
has never been this demanding guy that everyone always thinks he is. Like he just wants to play hoops because he likes being where he's at.
And he likes winning. And he always says, I play to win.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he needs to win.
Exactly.
To
like
feel
he's
good
satisfied with what he's done so far in his career, which if you're at peace with that, that's awesome for you, for sure.
Good for you. Free in the universe. So,
all right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I want to go into my trivia. I had trivia prepared for you.
Okay.
And I think it fits right after the draft talk because we're doing the Hornets' last 10 draft picks. Ooh. And I did include the 2023 draft. It goes back to 2016. That's all I'm giving you to start.
The Hornets. Wow.
That is all I'm giving you.
Okay, so Brandon Miller, obviously, this past year.
Real quick disclaimer, draft night trades, if they were drafted by the team and traded immediately after, it is their draft pick still. If it was traded prior to the draft, it did not count for their team.
Right.
That's where that goes.
So Brandon Miller from 2023. Jalen Duren technically was a Hornet, right?
Damn, I was hoping he would miss that one.
Oh, no.
I really was hoping
that could be a tricky one because technically it was the Knicks pick, but then it was traded, or no, it was Hornets traded
pick.
It to the Knicks,
yes,
and then the Knicks traded it to the Pistons. I remember that type of stuff.
Yes, you do.
Okay, but who was their actual pick last year, though? That's what I have to think of. Okay, but like I don't know if Mark Williams wasn't a Hornets pick, right?
He was.
Oh, okay, he was. Okay, pick. That's good to know. Okay, so James Bouknight, 2021, right?
Yep.
Is there another 2021? Okay, I won't. You don't have to answer that.
I wasn't going to.
I'm just gonna start naming off guys.
Yeah, 2016 is the last year.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some doubles in there. And when we get down to the nitty gritty, that's when I'll tell you which years.
Miles Bridges is a tough one because there might have been a trade there, but I'll say Miles Bridges.
No,
I didn't think. Yeah, I thought there was a trade there with him. Okay. Let me think here, because like JT Thor, I'm pretty sure was a second round pick. 2016. So like, is PJ Washington on here?
Yeah, he was drafted in 2019, 12th overall.
2019. Wow, I feel like he's been in the league for a longer time than that. He's a free agent too.
Mm-hmm.
Was Nick Richards a first round pick?
I don't think so.
I think he was a second round pick. Yeah. Okay. I gotta think of the really recent ones. Like, LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball in 2020.
Oh yeah. Why did I not think of him? I tried to go year by year, and then. Okay. LaMelo Ball. Who else is like on that team that would have still been a draft pick of theirs? Who is that other? Okay. So this is gonna be a tough one because this is a trade. Because this was 2 first round picks. Was Kai Jones a Hornets pick?
No.
I didn't think so. Yeah, because that was another trade. That was the Knicks, I'm pretty sure, again.
Knicks and the Hornets, they're tight like that.
They are, dude.
Like
I guess so. Wow, this is tough. So how many of these guys were on the Hornets that are left?
Okay, so one guy, I don't know, you're missing a player from last draft, from like Thursday night.
Okay.
And then the other, I know 2 of them played for the. 2 of them played for the Hornets.
Actually played for the Hornets. Okay.
Yes, one didn't.
Who am I missing for that? Wouldn't have been like a traded on draft. Like the Hornets just had this pick. Oh man, who else did the Hornets get in the draft?
You want me to give you a hint on the player?
Sure.
He played for a good college team. They're a really good college team with multiple other draft picks in the first round.
Okay, that's good information.
Mm-hmm.
With other draft picks in the first round. Do you know what pick this was?
25th. Or, I'm sorry, not 25th. Because that would have been, it would have been, I don't know. 26th.
20s something.
Late 20s.
Okay, yeah,
late 20s.
That's fine.
Like, end of the first round.
Man, this is tough. Who did they get? Because, I watched the whole draft, but, I really haven't, dove into, Oh, no, I know. Nick Smith Jr.?
Nick Smith Jr.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder whose pick that was, because they did a couple trades at the deadline.
So now you were missing 2018, 2017, 2016.
Okay.
One player in each draft. Funny enough, 2018, 2017, both were the 11th pick.
Oh, I know. Technically, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was Hornets.
Yes. And that is crazy that you know that. Because, like,
Okay, you want to know why I know that, though?
Yeah.
Because the Clippers had the 11th and 12th pick. Either 11th or 12th or 10th and 11th. And one of those picks was from the Blake Griffin trade. So one of those picks was ours. And everyone's always like, we should have had Shea Gilgeous. But no, technically, Miles Bridges was drafted by the Clippers, and they flip-flopped him. So
Gotcha.
Miles Bridges was the Pistons pick.
Would have been the Pistons.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So that's the only reason why I know that one. That's why I remember the Miles Bridges trade. Now.
Shout out the Pistons fan base for being just having that memory, and they never let go of anything.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm missing 7. Also, the Hornets got Amari Bailey, too, in the second round of Thursday night. So they got a bunch of guards. Okay, 17 and 16.
16 is definitely the hardest on this list. Like, for sure. I don't think he still plays in the NBA.
And 17, did he play on the Hornets?
Yeah. Yep. He was a Hornets player. He's not currently on the Hornets.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Good player.
Most guys are. Oh, Malik Monk, right?
Malik Monk,
yeah.
2017.
Okay, so 2016.
This guy was the 22nd overall pick.
22nd overall pick. Do you know where he played at his rookie year? Would you know that? Okay.
I don't. I know what college he went to, but
okay, yeah, you don't have to say.
Nope.
22nd overall pick, 2016.
He was a wing.
A wing, okay. Didn't play on the Hornets though.
I don't think
he did.
Didn't, I think he did, but I don't think he played for many years.
Gotcha.
Like I think he was.
So you don't know if he was a trade or not, like draft night trade.
No, he was not. He was drafted by the Hornets.
Gotcha. Okay. Wing player. I'm just trying to think of who was on the 2016. That'd have been like late Kemba era Hornets. Give me a few more seconds and then I'll give up here. I'm just trying to think of. Is this guy you don't know if he's still in the league?
I don't think so.
So he's like that.
He was bad.
Yeah.
And he was random.
Okay.
Yes, very bad, very random.
God, like, do you know any team he played on?
Nope.
Oh wow.
Like I don't really know who this guy is.
Oh okay.
I really don't. I know his name, but like it's not like I remember watching this guy play. Ever.
Is it no, the only guy I can think of right now is PJ Hairston from North Carolina. He was a bad Hornets first round pick.
No.
But he was like 2010 or something.
Okay, you ready for the college?
Give me the college.
Syracuse.
Raheem Christmas?
No.
Oh man.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know who this guy is.
Oh, Syracuse. Like Tyler Ennis? Yeah, I didn't think it was him. Yeah, I don't know.
Malachi Richardson?
Oh yeah, Malachi. He ended up being on the Kings for a little bit. Yeah, he wasn't any good.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, I would know a name like Malachi Richardson. That's a fire name.
Yeah, I do remember him at Syracuse. Yeah, he played on the Kings for a couple years, but not a good player.
And doesn't play in the NBA anymore.
Right.
There's no
Definitely
way.
not.
No way. 2016, yeah. There's no way he's in the league in 2022.
For sure he's not.
No way.
That was a good one. There's a lot of like tough trades in there, and a lot of the dudes that like ended up being on their team as rookies weren't drafted by them.
I mean, I can't believe the fumbling, and they're terrible at 11, by the way, because they've drafted at pick 11. They drafted James Bouknight, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Malik Monk, and they traded Shea.
And Bouknight got arrested in his rookie year.
Yes. And the other hilarious one is that you trade Duran, keep Mark Williams. Huh?
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't help.
Quite weird. Yeah, I mean, Mark Williams is probably going to be a good player, but like he's no Jalen
He
Duren.
ain't Jalen Duren.
Exactly.
They missed on that one.
All right, so let's get into. I have a trivia for you as well, but we're going to do it after free agent prediction, just so the listeners don't just have to hear trivia for so long. Okay, so let's get into it. Free agency predictions. We are doing the top 15 free agents. Now, don't get mad when you're like, how come Karis LeVert wasn't on the top 15? Sorry, I just did the top 15 that I thought was most interesting because it might not be the top 15 best players. We're just doing it like that. Also, Vucevic signed today, so it was 16. It's now 15 because Vucevic re-signed with Chicago. 3 years, $60 million. Honestly, not a bad extension for Vucevic. Like, he's obviously getting older, but like $20 million is
that
like
ain't shit anymore.
That's like the new $10 million
For sure.
Like inflation.
Oh
Come
my
on.
gosh, inflation.
Don't get me started. Okay, so just some names that, by the way, I'm going to say that I left off, or that we left off, that I feel like are going to be important free agents. Josh Hart, The only reason I didn't put him on here, because he definitely is a top 15 free agent, I just think he's like for sure going back to the Knicks. So that's why I didn't. Gary Trent Jr. is a good one. Christian Wood's a good one. PJ Washington's a good one. And Karis LeVert. Those are the names that we didn't put on that I thought were worthy of at least being named.
This free agency class, low-key, is loaded.
Okay, it sucks.
It is
like
so deep.
I think it sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
I think there are so many good players that would contribute to winning.
You're right. There is. There is.
So many good players that could go to teams and change the landscape.
Free agency is just not what it used to be, though.
No.
It's not like how it was like, oh my God, there's 5 freaking superstars in free agency, you know?
Yes.
But that's just how it is nowadays. It's all about trades.
You don't see KD jumping ship and going to the Warriors for nothing anymore.
I also wrote down these predictions on Monday night, by the way. So, I might just change some of them on the fly if I want to, but we'll see. All right.
By the way, I mocked Vooch going to the Bulls. Just saying.
So did I. I have it right there.
But just saying.
All right, let's start off. James Harden. Where's James Harden going?
So, funny enough, I wrote back home. That can mean a lot of things. What is home to James Harden?
Right.
Is it Philly? Is it Brooklyn? It's not Brooklyn. Is it Houston?
Is it freaking Arizona State?
Could be Arizona. He might be going to Phoenix.
Yo.
Sign and trade for DeAndre Ayton.
Signing the minimum?
No, I've got it. When I wrote back home in my head, I was thinking he's probably going back to Philly. It's unfortunate because I really wanted him to go to Houston this offseason, but it doesn't make sense for him to go back to Houston.
Right.
To be the lone veteran on this young team that doesn't have winning anytime soon in their future, it looks like. They haven't showed any flashes of, being good. I mean, they have some good talent, but I just think he's going to end up back in Philly so he can continue to compete and at least, try to make a finals run.
Yeah, I also think James Harden's going back to Philly, mainly because Philly has no other option than to let James Harden, to bring him back. They can't let him leave. And so, obviously, he's unrestricted, so he can do whatever he wants. But it's not many teams that have the money that also are interested in James Harden. It's going to be Philly or Houston, And as much as Houston would be cool, and I think he wants to go there because he's, at this point, I feel like the rumors was that he's just satisfied with his career at this point. He understands that he's not going to be this best player on a championship team. He just wants to go play where he liked it at and where he can just be the dude. But also, they just drafted Amen Thompson. They have Kevin Porter Jr. They have 30 young dudes that all deserve to get minutes. That if you add James Harden into that, it's going to be interesting. Now, Houston is going to try to turn a corner this year because they don't own their first-round pick this next year, so they definitely have to try to be good. But I think Philly has to come back to, or Harden has to come back to Philly.
A new head coach in Houston. Maybe he wants to go play for Ime. Maybe.
Could be.
But probably not.
Yeah. Kyrie Irving. Where's Kyrie Irving going?
I just scribbled this one out because I was like, yeah, I'm just being so boring.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the Mavs, but who cares? He's probably going back to Dallas. Awesome destination. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Go home, Kyrie.
How's that going to work?
You trade one of your two bigs. And maybe I don't know. You
how do you have Garland, Kyrie?
No. I think you trade. I think Garland's in the trade. Actually, I think you trade Garland for Kyrie because Garland underperformed the playoffs, and Cavs are ready to start winning.
Whoa,
Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell.
I saw that rumor about Garland trade today on Twitter, and then it got Brian Windhorst was like, they're not trading Garland. So, of course, he shut it down.
I hate you, Windhorst.
That would be such a bad move by Cleveland.
It'd be so good.
It'd be such a bad move.
So good to see Kyrie back in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, it would. But for them to trade Garland would just be so bad.
Yeah, he's just so young and just underperformed and one time in the playoffs.
His first time.
You don't have to trade him.
Exactly. Yeah, Kyrie's going back to Dallas. Where else is he going to go? What other team has the money that is yeah, we'll take Kyrie? No one.
Nobody says that we'll take Kyrie part.
Exactly. There's no situation that makes sense for Kyrie unless it's a sign and trade, and even then, I don't know what team would want him. So, yeah. Next one that is a good one here, and I wrote down 3 different teams, so I'm kind of just gonna pick one right
prepared.
Here. Fred VanVleet. Where is Fred VanVleet going?
There's no player in the NBA that I'm more confused about what his value is. How good is this guy really? Where should he play? What kind of system does he need to be? Should he have the ball? Should he not have the ball? Who knows?
Is he a point guard or shooting guard?
I don't know. He is one of the most confusing players in the NBA. I have him going to the Orlando Magic and just load in that backcourt with guards.
Okay.
Figure out and start winning some games. Could Fred VanVleet, I think, would work in Orlando. You stick him next to Anthony Black. I think with your big front court, I think it would work.
I like that pick. I didn't write down Orlando, but I definitely that is a good one. I like that one.
I think it'd be a lot of fun with Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, and Paulo in the front court. Have a backcourt of Anthony Black, Markelle Fultz, and Fred VanVleet. I feel like you've got a great future. You also have Jet Howard, who can play some wing and two. I think that team would actually be pretty lethal.
I'm going to go with, okay, so I wrote down the team I'm crossing out. The 3 teams I wrote down was Houston, San Antonio, and Chicago. I'm going to cross out San Antonio. I think San Antonio should go sign somebody, though, to like help Wemby so they're not just like terrible. But I'm going to take them out. Houston today it came out as a report that Houston is prepared to offer Fred VanVleet like 2 years, $80 million. Like just so they can like make him come to Houston.
Like get him back,
he
basically.
can't
Yeah,
not
you can't
accept
turn that down.
And it's 2 years, so it's right before that second apron hits, so like it's not that big of a deal.
Genius move out of Houston, by the way.
That's what they're trying to do. They have the money. But I'm going to switch it up. I'm not going to say Houston. I think Fred VanVleet goes to Chicago in some sort of sign and trade. It's tough because Lonzo Ball is under contract, and no one's going to take Lonzo Ball on a trade. I mean, he might never play again. But I think the Chicago Bulls are trying to get that next point guard. I think you give Fred VanVleet a longer-term deal that isn't as expensive as $40 million a year. And they're still trying to compete, clearly. They just re-signed Nikola Vucevic. I don't know how the money's going to work there, honestly. Maybe it doesn't even work out. Honestly, that probably makes no sense for him to go to Chicago now that I think about it, but I'm sticking with it.
It's all right. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, these teams just get money. They just pay. They find a way to pay these guys.
They just overpay dudes so they can trade their contract for a better player.
Genius.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so smart.
All right, next up, Chris Middleton. Where is Chris Middleton going?
I've got Chris Middleton going back to the Bucks. I expect him to re-sign. Why would you leave? It's the best situation you've had in your whole career. It's just, it's perfect. The Bucks raised you and made you who you were, and you won a championship with them. Yeah, the Pistons didn't raise him. No, they did not.
Yeah, I was going to put Milwaukee for this one, but I wanted to switch it up, and I did this after the Sacramento Kings made a draft night trade to shade salary. They traded away their first-round pick just to get off Holmes. They have like 30-some million now. I think Chris Middleton goes to the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are looking to make a big move to get a wing. It was rumored that they tried to make a huge trade for OG. It was rumored that they wanted to go out, and there was someone else that they were trying to go get. I can't remember. Didn't work out. I think you try to go get the biggest fish wing in the draft, overpay for him. He's like 30-something. Do it. Chris Middleton to the Kings.
Chris Middleton, a big fish. That's for sure. That guy's a big fish.
Class, free agency class.
I mean, in general. You toss him in any free. That guy's a big fish.
Yeah.
You need buckets off 2 dribbles or like none. It's Chris Middleton. You need game winners hit when he has like 15 points.
Right.
Give Chris Middleton a call.
Nothing crazier than you predicting Chris Middleton to be third-team All-NBA this year when he was injured to start the year. We'll get into our preseason predictions a little bit later on.
We don't have to.
Foreshadowing. Okay, next, Draymond Green. Where's Draymond Green going?
He's going home. He's staying with the Warriors,
Pistons?
I think.
Oh.
The Pistons.
Going home is not the term.
I know. You're right. I keep saying that. He's going back to where he's been playing his whole career. I've got him going back to Golden State. I think they just restructuring his contract, giving him more years, probably a similar amount of money, just more years on it.
Yeah, he's going back to the Warriors. The Chris Paul trade was a clear indicative that he was going back there. At first, when it happened, you and me were talking, I was like, I thought it meant that they can't bring back Draymond, but then I like put it together. It's like, oh, they're more than likely going to make some sort of contract where he's not making that much this year. Definitely makes more down the line, and is going to stay in Golden State for the future. Him and JJ Redick said it best himself. When Draymond and Chris Paul going against the refs, dude, oh my God. Those are going to be unwatchable games.
They will be
the
terrible.
amount of like complaining that's going to happen. Oh, I am not excited for that.
I didn't even
they're going to become so unlikable.
That team is going to be
like
one of the
them
most
complaining to the refs
teams.
and then Clay just like throwing up 4 like the whole time and
Steph just trying to be normal.
Like, oh, that's going to be bad. Okay,
Steph with
next.
The 4. Clay with the 4 is crazy.
Jeremy Grant. Where's Jeremy Grant going?
Listen, you want to talk about a big fish, a wing. He wants $30 million. You know who just made room for $30 million? You mentioned him. It's the Sacramento Kings. What a great landing spot for Jeremy Grant. He would fit in like a glove there. He doesn't need the ball. He's not ball dominant. I think he could slide right in, be a good defender, and do exactly what they needed out of that wing position. That propels that Kings team to make a massive jump. Like, be very, very good next year.
Expect the Kings to make a big move. Like, I think one of one of Chris Middleton, Jeremy Grant, or Kyle Kuzma ends up in Sacktown, and if not, a trade happens. Like the Kings are not running it back with the same team. I think that they realize their window is now, especially, I mean, that draft night trade they made was a clear show that they want to add somebody who's on a big deal to this team. So I'm excited for what the Kings are going to do.
Me too, man. This Kings team could make a jump to finals contention in the West
potentially
this next season,
for sure.
If they didn't make a big enough move. This team was that good this last year.
I got Jeremy Grant going back to Portland. It just kind of seems like all signs are pointing that way, especially with Damian Lillard sticking around. They're boys. I don't see why Jeremy would leave unless they want to not offer him some contract, but they probably will. So I got him going back.
Jeremy leaves. Dame gets traded. Super interesting offseason.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Vucevic went back to Chicago. Gonna burp. Excuse me. Okay, sorry. Kyle Kuzma. This is a good one. Where is Kuz going?
Kuz is interesting. This Wizards team has so many forwards, and it feels like Kuz is a little bit outside of their window that they have right now of what their group of their core is. Feels he's a little aged at this point, and they've got some young forwards like Denny Abdiha, Bilal Koulibaly.
Yeah, who you drafted in the
I drafted in Sleeper
Dynasty draft. Yeah,
way early. I drafted him really early.
But you wanted him, though.
I should have taken Anthony Black.
How'd you not take Asor Thompson?
I really wanted
he was
Anthony
there.
Black.
I just totally figured you were going to take him.
No, I really wanted Anthony Black. I don't know why.
He fell, dude. He fell
I
to
know. I almost got him in my second pick.
round. Yeah,
that's where I was like, oh my god, I'm going to get Anthony Black still. But great pick with Jordan Hawkins and Keontae George back to
the
back.
Hawkins pick. I had the following. When I picked Hood Schifino in the middle of the second round, it was between him and Hawkins. And I only took Hood Schifino because I feel like he's going to have a bigger role right away. I don't know if he's going to be better, but yeah, getting Hawkins that late was nice.
Yeah, Keontae George, bucket getter. Could get some sleeper points there.
Anyways, though, Kuzma.
Yeah, how did that get started?
Because of Wizards.
Oh, yeah. So Kuzma, I've got him going to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies free up space.
I like that.
They're not bringing Dylan Brooks back. You get a wing who can score the ball and play some elite level defense when it comes, and you need it. I think this would be an awesome fit. You start John Morant, JJJ, Steven Adams, Kyle Kuzma, and Desmond Bane. That's a great
starting five. Marquise Smart too in that squad.
And
he'll start obviously for Ja while he's suspended. But
I mean that's a great basketball team coming in next year,
yeah.
And it does help you in that first 25 game stretch. I didn't even think about that. I mean the 25 games without Ja. Kuzma really helps that scoring output.
Definitely. I like that fit a lot with Kuzma going there. I have Kyle Kuzma joining the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers have some cap space as well. I think that they're looking to add another young dude into their core via free agency, just like the Pistons are. I don't think Kuzma to Detroit is a realistic thing. I really feel like they're not going to target him.
It would be sweet.
It's clear that they want a defensive wing. They want to get another one of those guys. Kuzma, I love Kuzma. He's from Flint, obviously. But he's just not that type of guy they're looking for. I think him on Indiana is fun because then you still have Buddy Hield, which I don't know what the plan is with Buddy Hield, but you have that young core of Halliburton, Mathurin, Kuzma, Jarris Walker. Miles Turner's not young, but he's sticking around. He's on a huge contract now, so he's there to stay. I like that a lot for the Pacers going forward if they get Kyle Kuzma.
That'd be a sick move. It really sets up the table for them to be good sooner, quicker. I mean, I think the Pacers are kind of, with Tyrese Halliburton, that team can be really, really good really, really soon. I don't know what they look like in a playoff run, but I think they could be a great regular season team very, very quickly.
For sure.
With Tyrese heading the ship there.
Next up, Brook Lopez.
I've got him going back to the Bucks. I think this one's just simple. He made $13.9 million. I think he gets a bump there, no doubt. I mean, he's been back-to-back in depoy conversations. This guy is essential to this Bucks team and making it run with his the way he stretches the floor, everything. I'd be really, really shocked if Milwaukee doesn't do everything in their power to bring him back.
He might have had the best year of his career last year, honestly.
Unreal.
Yeah.
He is the leading scorer in Brooklyn Nets history.
Yeah.
And he might have had his best year last year,
because,
35.
His game has really switched.
It's crazy.
He's an elite rim protector and a pretty good stretch big. That was not his game at all in Brooklyn.
So funny how that works.
Yeah.
And
it's part of the guys being a part of two eras,
Yeah.
It's tough for guys like that to make that adjustment, and he did, and shout out to him for it. I actually have Brook Lopez joining the Dallas Mavericks. I did write this down, not knowing what the cap situation would look like. Obviously, the Mavs are bringing in Kyrie, so there would have to be some sort of sign and trade. But the Bucks have Bobby Portis, and maybe they want to allow him to finally be the starting center. I have the Bucks losing Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez in this situation. Most likely not happening. I would assume
be a house fire.
I would assume at least one of them comes back. But yeah, I think Brook Lopez in Dallas. Dallas makes a lot of sense for him. It just whether or not the money is going to be there to make sense. Probably not. Who knows? But I got Brook Lopez to Dallas.
That would say a lot about the Milwaukee's organization if they both left. That would just be a bad sign for what's going on.
He's so weird.
What is going on there?
Jakob Poeltl, where is he going?
I have him going to the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh,
starting
okay. Nice.
Another starting center that can come in right away and be really, really good for you. And Dallas, he's not the rim protector you necessarily want. He's just a solid big. Mm-hmm. And people really like Jakob Poeltl's game. I haven't watched a ton of Spurs games in the last couple of years because why would you? But Jakob Poeltl, people love him, and I think he'd be a good fit in Mavs who need a center.
I have Jakob Poeltl going back to the Raptors. It seems like that they traded a first-round pick for him last year, so I would assume that they don't just want to let him go for nothing. So I have him going back to the Raptors is basically it. Next, D'Angelo Russell probably doesn't deserve to be in this top 15 label, but he's a name, so that's why he's in it.
Give me D'Lo going back to Brooklyn.
Ooh.
How cool would that core be? It's like the same team he was once on, where it's just, hey, we're a really good group of really good players. We play good team basketball, and we win games because of it. It would be so much fun to see. I think the Brooklyn Nets team would go right back to where they used to, like that team that everybody loved that only lasted for 1 year.
Yeah.
I could see that being 2.0 and bring D'Lo back to run the helm. I think it'd be awesome.
So I originally put the Utah Jazz for D'Lo before the John Collins trade. So I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm just going to say D'Lo's going back to the Lakers instead. I think to the Jazz would be interesting. It just depends on what the Jazz want to do. I don't know if they want to just try to be good or develop. I don't know what their plan is. So I like the idea of him going to the Jazz. But I'm going back to the Lakers. I just feel like that, he's probably not going to get as big of a contract as he expects. He's probably going to sit in free agency for days and days and then realize, crap, I just got to re-sign to the Lakers on like a 1 year, $25 million deal or something. So I don't think he'll sign for a long-term deal if he goes back to the Lakers because Lakers also want to stay flexible with probably losing LeBron James after next year. So, I got D'Lo going.
That's weird. That's something we got to start thinking about is like what happens to LeBron after next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go wherever Bronny goes. He put that shit on his story today. Do you see that? The mock ESPN made the mock draft for next year, and it had Bronny going to the Hawks. And LeBron reposted it, put it on his Instagram story, and was like, "Shit, the James family going to Atlanta." he is so open about it. Like, I'm going wherever he goes. Like, he don't care.
That's going to be so weird.
It's just, what if the team doesn't want him?
Or what if they don't have
to know?
What if they don't have the money? What if this?
I feel like he would.
Would he go $5 million?
I think so.
Like a vet minimum?
I think he would.
Imagine LeBron James on a vet minimum. That team is winning a lot of games.
Making less than Bronny. Be funny. All right, next up, Austin Reeves. Where is Austin Reeves going?
I've got him going back to the Lakers. I think it'd be silly with how much he exploded and how much Lakers Nation loves this guy. He's just a monster. AR-15. Put it in my veins. Inject it into me. Make it my bloodstream. That's how much I love Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves to the Pistons is a pipe dream. I would love it. But he's going back to the Lakers.
I would love that.
It'd be nice. But yeah, he's going back to the Lakers. They cannot let Austin Reeves go. They got to match anything that any team gives him. I think we're going to be surprised at the dollar amount Austin Reeves gets this offseason. It might be $25 million.
It might be a lot of money.
It might, 25 M's for him is crazy, but I feel like a team is going to offer him that, and the Lakers have to match. It's going to be tough, obviously, because that's basically another max player. Obviously, he's not a max, but that you didn't expect to have on your team. So we'll see what happens there. Next, we have everyone's favorite free agent in the state of Michigan, Cam Johnson. Where's Cam Johnson going? I would say it's one of two places.
I made it the obvious one. I went with the Pistons. Everybody wants him in Detroit. He'd be a great fit. Everything that's been said on any podcast ever about the Pistons and Cam Johnson has probably been said here. He can stretch the floor. He can play defense. He's a little bit older. He's going to be on a team-friendly contract for what he brings to the table, in all honesty. I don't think $20 million or $22 million is overpaying for Cam Johnson. No. I think he's a really, really talented player who could help us win and maybe turn a corner this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Cam Johnson going to the Pistons as well. It's going to be a price to pay because the Nets want to bring him back, and he's restricted. So when there is a restricted free agent, which, by the way, he's a 27-year-old restricted free agent, pretty wild. But you have to overpay for a restricted free agent. It has to be enough where Brooklyn Nets don't want to match it. I've been seeing 4-year, $100 million, and that's like the Nets would match that. Like
They
it might have to
definitely
be 4-year, $115 million. $27 million a year or something for him, which is a lot of freaking money for Cam Johnson. But like, why not? Like the Pistons, we're gonna be able to retain our own players. So why not go pay somebody before you have to pay all the young dudes? Eventually because Cade, Ivy, everybody, they all got to get paid at some point. So why not go spend money now while you have it? Don't just do it on something stupid. But a guy like Cam Johnson fits the team so well. He has a relationship with Monty Williams. Why not do it? I love it. Bruce Brown is the next one. Help the Nuggets win a chip. Where's he going next?
What are the odds he just goes back to the Nuggets? I was curious. I didn't write Nuggets, but
I don't think that they
can even do it.
Like
can they?
He would have to sign a smaller deal, and he's just not going to. I mean, he made $5 million last year. Like he's going to get $15 million.
That poor guy. That's an unreal.
Poor dude. $5 million. I'll help him with his next freaking car payment or something, dude.
I've got Bruce Brown going to the Utah Jazz, making a switch, going to another young team. The Kings would also be a pretty sick landing spot for Bruce Brown.
That would be good. They have the money. Dude, I like that.
That'd be a pretty sweet landing spot.
That's a good one.
But I got him going with Jazz.
I have Bruce Brown joining the New York Knicks. Him and Josh Hart might be the two most similar players ever. But why not have two of them? I think that would be a fun couple guys to have. Bruce Brown in the big city. I think that'd be cool. Shout out to Bruce Brown, man, for just becoming what he has, starting up with the Detroit Pistons. Awesome story. And hopefully he gets a bag this off. He's going to get a bag
Pistons players win NBA championships.
Yes.
That's just the way we do it.
And just not on the Pistons.
Hey, we win them.
Okay, two more here. Russell Westbrook. Where is Brody going?
I can't believe you didn't rank this guy like number 4 on this whole list.
Yeah.
That's how good he was last year. I've got him hope, and this is like out of hope because I have him in fantasy. I need him to go back to the Clippers because he was good on the Clippers. He was a solid NBA player on the Clippers. Got him going back to the Clippers. I don't know what the Clippers are doing, though. They're in such a weird spot with everything going on. Do you get big news?
No,
is that
I
big
thought
news?
So. It's Chicago Bears news.
Stupid news. Little news, not unimportant news.
By the way, Justin Fields' MVP odds have been getting, bolstered. For some reason, they be thinking he's going to win MVP. It got boosted from plus 4,000 to plus 1,800 today.
Huh?
I think just because a bunch of people are betting on it, and they're like, oh my God, is he actually going to win it?
You see the new talk
He's not.
About Chet winning Rookie of the Year over Vic?
Yeah, I've been seeing that. I mean, it's just people are just saying that because they can put money on Chet and they'll win more.
I don't like that. I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I just don't think it makes sense. Isn't Vic just the better Chet? As prospects,
yeah,
I know
maybe,
Vic Chet's
maybe
got the
it's
year,
a health thing. I don't know.
but,
Maybe they think that since Chet took a year off, he's bound to play a whole season or something.
Well, I don't know how that works.
Chet for sure could be a Rookie of the Year, but he's definitely not favored to win it over Wembanyama.
And people are now acting like there's Chet's probably Rookie of the Year. No, why? Why? Victor is 7'5", he's exactly like Chet, but 7'5" instead of 7'2".
And heavier as well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got Westbrook going back to the Clippers. Westbrook's contract is going to be really interesting. I'm really intrigued to see what kind of deal he gets, money-wise and length-wise. I really have no clue. And then last one, Dylan Brooks. Where is Dylan Brooks going?
He's going to go to my least favorite team in the NBA, the Charlotte Hornets.
They're your least favorite team in the NBA?
I think so.
Dude, he fits them. Oh, my God.
He is a Hornet. I mean, you sign, seal, delivered. He feels like a Hornet player. He is so funny because Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball and Dylan Brooks all on the court together. That is the 3 biggest menace weirdo guys ever on the court together.
Then you add in Gordon Hayward.
I also wrote 76ers. I don't know how that would work because they've got so much money everywhere. But
and Brooks is, cool. I mean, he's going to get a good contract.
He's going to get 20
mil. Potentially, yeah. He definitely will get a good contract. He's not a bad player. He was all defensive second team this year. We know what he's capable of. He just needs a change of scenery for sure.
He needs to lay low next season. Don't do anything.
No.
Just be laying low. You don't have to
exactly.
You don't have to try to
have your year.
Don't defend anybody. Don't try to defend anything you've done. Just
play.
Move past it and play basketball.
I have Dylan Brooks going to the Houston Rockets. I feel like that's another one that just makes sense. Rockets have money. And I think that he fits Ime Udoka and their style of play.
That is not the kind of vet they need to turn shit around. Because that ain't turning nothing.
Neither's James Harden, though.
You're right.
Actually, everything I've heard is James Harden is actually like a really good teammate. But is despite all the
Dylan Brooks is the wrong direction vet. He is the absolute polar opposite of what you need.
I would agree. Okay, so a couple of Pistons rumors. James Edwards III did a article the other day talking about the five free agents that the Pistons could target, basically. Cam Johnson was on there, obvious one. But the big one that he's vouching for over Cam Johnson is Harrison Barnes of the Sacramento Kings. It's going to be cheaper. It's probably going to be a shorter deal. He's 31. He stays healthy. I think that was his main point, is that he's played in over 70 games in 9 of his 11 seasons in the NBA, which is quite a lot. Cam Johnson definitely has a injury concern to him. So I like the Harrison Barnes idea. I think that would be cool. Just depends on the dollar amount. Obviously, I would still prefer to get Cam Johnson.
The Harrison Barnes move makes total sense because of the length of the contract he'd expect.
Right.
It'd probably be 2 years, and then in
maybe
2 years,
a third year potentially.
And then we know at that point, like in 2 years, okay, we are good enough. Let's go trade for Devin Booker. Let's go trade for Jaylen Brown. Kind of deal.
And if Harrison Barnes gets, it's going to be a lot more. Like, it's going to be one of them contracts where if we do sign him, like, fans are going to be pissed right away because it's going to be 2 year, $50 million. You know, sure. It'll be a lot because he's in Sacramento. You know, why would he want to leave that situation to come here? But Harrison Barnes has always gotten big contracts, so maybe he's just chasing another bag. Austin Reeves was in the article. That's, like I said, a pipe dream. I think it'd be awesome, and I think the Pistons should target Austin Reeves. I just don't think it'll actually happen.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. And then Ish Smith was in there, I think, just for fun. And then Yuta Watanabe was in there just as a last second, like, need a shooter on the minimum, go get Yuta. But Yuta screams like a guy that's going to go join a really good team on a minimum, so he can play, like the Phoenix Suns. Like, I feel like that just totally makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like teams that need guys on minimum contracts that are still going to get big minutes. I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
It's right for the career too. Why would he come to Detroit where he's not going to play when he can go play on a competitive team?
And you're actually going to play. Yeah,
and maybe get a big contract.
So yeah, totally makes a lot more sense there. Okay, before we get into our preseason predictions, I have a trivia for you. So we're doing a lot of talk about contracts. You know, money. Oh, it's so confusing. So much money.
Money, money, money.
I want you to name me every player in the NBA that is making over $40 million next season.
Okay.
There are 17 players that are making $40 million a year next year. I was originally going to do $35 million because I knew there'd be a lot more obscure names on it. There is like 35 dudes that are making $35 million. Like, there is a lot.
That is unreal that many guys make that much money.
Yeah.
It's just, and the thing is, I'm not playing 2K My GM anymore, so like I don't see these contracts a lot.
Right.
Because if I would have, that's just 17, I would have guessed 7 players.
Yeah.
If you would have said how many players.
There's one player making $50 million next year, and then the year after that, it's going to be a lot, obviously. This list is not hard by any means. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of expected names. There's only a few that are, like, really tough. So let's see how many you can get without getting over 3 wrong.
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry's number 1, 51 M's next year.
That's unreal. LeBron James?
LeBron is number 4, 46 M's.
Damian Lillard?
Damian Lillard is number 8, 45 M's.
Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant is number 2, 47.
I don't know when it starts getting to young guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting any of the older. Giannis.
Giannis is number 7, making 45.
Like, I don't know how much a younger guy, like, I think he's too young. I don't know when his contracts start to kick in. I'll keep going with, like, Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is number 14 at 40 M's.
Okay. Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum is not on the list.
Really?
Jason Tatum is not. Okay. I'd say there's so many guys I just can't really remember who's on here. Yeah, Jason Tatum is not making 40 M's next year. Okay.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker is not making 40 M's next year.
I'm picking young guys? Am I? Okay. I'm going. Let's go Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard's making 45 M's next year.
And let's go Paul George.
Paul George is also making the same amount as Kawhi Leonard next year.
It's unreal.
Pretty funny on the same team.
I'm glad I didn't forget those two. Is there somebody like?
There's more older players.
Yeah.
That are good still, like not like bad.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, like, did Clay get 40 M's in his extension?
Clay is number 12, 43 M's, yes.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me.
None of these players are bad. There's a couple that, like, are bad contracts, but, like Kyle Lowry, essentially, is not in this, you know? Like, they're players of that at that level. Like
James Harden?
James Harden is... I don't think he's on here.
He isn't. He's making like 38, I think.
Yeah, not making 40 M's.
Okay. There's some more older guys on the list still.
A few. There's some young guys, though.
Okay. A young guy that's... How much is he making?
So there is, I will tell you, like, young guys, like, because obviously there's, like, middle-aged guys. The only two young guys are from the same draft class because obviously they, like, got the extension the same year, but are two really, really good young players. Like, earlier than... No, actually not earlier than Tatum. Or it makes sense that it was later than Tatum, actually, because the money would have been higher. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they got paid a year later and the money was higher. So that is... I'm just going to throw out some names here that I'm thinking, and then I'm going to come to Donovan Mitchell's a name that's in my head right now. Trae Young is a name that's in my head. Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic are the four names I'm fighting with right now.
Right.
I'm going to go with next year... Oh...
I would say just guess.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Luka.
Luka is one of them, making 40 M's.
I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell is not making 40 M's.
That's my third strike, isn't it?
Yeah, but like...
I can keep playing, though.
Trae Young was on here, 17 M's. You got him. Nikola Jokic is fifth, making 46 M's.
I don't know why I didn't guess him over Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know why.
Okay, so the only guys you're missing are...
Is Embiid not on here?
Embiid is third, 46
See, I didn't think Embiid would be
He
on
just got
there.
a new deal last season.
Oh, damn.
That's the tough part. You got to think of guys that like just got a new contract.
Yeah.
Like number 6 just got his new contract like last year, and it's a bad one, but it just got traded.
Oh,
it's a bad one for a reason, not essentially money-wise.
Ben Simmons?
No. That's not a bad guess.
Is he making 40 M's, though?
No.
He just got traded. Like on
just
draft
got
night?
traded.
Today?
No.
John Collins?
No. Like got traded this offseason.
Chris Paul?
No. One more big name, though.
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal, yes. And Bradley Beal did no trade clauses,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bradley Beal's making 46 M's, so... the only guys that you missed other than that, Jimmy Butler is making 45 M's, number 11, which I think his contract gets crazy. I think it gets to 60 M's at one point, which is wild. Rudy Gobert is making 41 M's at 13. And Zach LaVine, who just signed a new contract last year, is making 40 M's next year.
That makes sense. That makes sense. My other guess would have been, but I know he signed it. I wouldn't have ever guessed it, but the guy I couldn't get on my head was Jaylen Brown. So I just know he's due. He's getting that big
He will
extension
get
this
40
year.
M's, yes.
Yeah.
Like he will be making 40
M's
M's next year. He
yeah.
just right now is not. So I probably would have counted that.
Technically he's not signed.
Last thing we're going to do here, we are going to go over our preseason predictions from last year. Usually we do this right after the playoffs, and I kind of just forgot about it, so I figured why not do it right now? I think it's fun. So let's start off with the standings. I think the standings is really fun. I'm only going to point out like the real outliers here.
Yeah, the interesting ones.
Exactly, for ones that were way off. So I'll go over yours first. So obviously in real life, the Milwaukee Bucks were the 1 seed. You got that right. So I'll go over the ones that like you got right, and then like the crazy ones. Boston and Philly were 2 and 3. You had Philly, Boston at 2 and 3, so quite close there. The Toronto Raptors was your 4 seed. They ended up being the 9 seed, so not the greatest, but you know they still made it there. Brooklyn Nets, really tough to predict. They were the 5th seed. They ended up being the 6th seed, so obviously it didn't matter, but completely different team.
That's just luck.
What is that team at 8? Oh no, I see. It's the Hawks. Okay, never mind. And then that's pretty much it. Honestly, you did pretty good in the East. Like the Pistons is the 12 seed, obviously is a little high. The Knicks is the 10 seeds, a little low. But other than that, everything is right in the same range here for you. Like the Pacers are right there. The Wizards are right in the right spot. The Hornets.
The East kind of worked out how you think it would under Toronto, really.
Yeah, I would say so too. You had Miami as the 6th seed. They're the 8th seed, close enough. In the West, you predicted the Nuggets as a 1 seed. Got that right as well. The Phoenix Suns as the 3 seed. They're the 5th seed, so that's somewhat close. Any other outliers here? The Dallas Mavericks were the 6th seed. You had them as the 11th seed. You had them as the 6th seed. They were the 11th seed. I probably
We're going to have the Thunder.
I probably also had a bad one. Thunder has the 13 seed. They're the 10 seed. So, I mean.
I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. And
it just feels worse because the plan.
Yeah, I would say so too. Spurs is a 15 seed too. You got that correct. I was gonna say Portland was off, but no, it was only off by 2. So honestly, a pretty good job for you in the standings. For me, I know I'm gonna have some wild ones here. I already remember. In the East, it doesn't really look like I have any crazy ones right now. I had the Bucks as the 3 seed. They're the 1 seed. Celtics as the 1 seed. Yeah, I really didn't have any bad ones at all in the East, actually. The East was pretty easy. I got the Cavs right as the 4 seed. Also had the Pistons as the 12 seed. Also had the Knicks low as the 11 seed. I had the Wizards kind of high as the 10 seed. In the West, though, I already know this one. Got the Nuggets right as the 1 seed. Warriors were my 2 seed. They were the 6 seed. That's a little tough. The biggest one, though, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I was insanely high on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Had them as the 3 seed, and they were the 8 seed. And there's more to come with the awards with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I remember you liked the Timberwolves.
I thought that this was going to be their year.
Yeah.
Because Karl-Anthony Towns coming off a career season. Rudy Gobert trade I thought was going to work out. Anthony Edwards breaking out.
On paper,
Cat was hurt, for like a lot of the season, but I don't think.
And they even had D'Lo, and that looked good until they didn't have him.
Exactly, it was just.
And they got better.
Not good at all. I thought the Grizzlies were taking a fall this year. I had them as the 8 seed. They were the 2 seed. That's tough.
You thought they were doing the Hawks?
Yeah,
the whole Hawks dance.
The Kings had as the 11 seed, and they were the 3 seed. I didn't even see the Kings for you actually. Let me see where you had the Kings. You had the Kings as the 10 seed. Yeah, so we both were sleeping on the Kings hardcore.
Dude, how could you not? Like, how could you not sleep on them last year?
Like, you can't predict them to be good.
That's like me saying the Jaguars are going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. Like,
exactly.
It's not happening.
And then I had the OKC Thunder as the 15 seed, and they clearly were not. I thought that, they've tanked for so many years. Why would they not tank for Wemby?
Why would you stop?
But they didn't. So shout out to them for not doing that. Okay, let's get into the awards. This is where it gets pretty fun. The standings is whatever because the Heat were the 8 seed, made the finals. Like, doesn't really matter that much.
Is your phone dying right now?
No.
Like when it's off charger, does it just like start draining?
Yeah,
your
my
battery?
phone battery sucks.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's so bad.
Especially
when I'm going golfing. Like I want to make sure it's at a high percentage.
Yep.
Because it's gonna die out there for sure. What were our NBA Finals predictions, by the way?
My NBA Finals predictions were kind of crazy. Like, actually hyper crazy. I had Bucks versus Mavericks.
Ooh. Oh, first round exit versus a non-playoff team.
How do you do that? How do you miss
that's not
badly?
that crazy. The Bucks were the 1 seed and the Mavs made the conference finals, the year before.
Yeah, and I thought in the podcast I said Luka's doing his LeBron stuff. He's carrying his squad. It didn't happen. You had a little more. You had 76ers versus the Nuggets. You predicted the Nuggets going to the finals, which is sweet. You had them losing to the 76ers in 7.
Always the 76ers.
You're going to do it again this year.
Oh, I will.
You're going to like them again.
I won't pick them in the preseason, but like come playoff time, I'll be like, dude, the Sixers, like, just think about it though. If Jason Tatum doesn't hit 5 threes in that fourth quarter in Game 6 against Philly goes to the finals. I think Philly beats Miami and Boston when Boston couldn't. I think Philly beats them.
And then you nail the finals, but have the loser.
nail the finals.
But there's no way Sixers beat Nuggets.
No, they wouldn't have beat the Nuggets. But still, that's all I care about is just getting the 2 teams right.
Yeah, for sure.
That would have been awesome.
I didn't get a team that made the second round. So
that's a good point, yeah. Okay, let's get into our award predictions. So, MVP prediction, obviously Joel Embiid was the winner. I thought Jokic was going to 3-peat, and you picked Luka. Both pretty good picks. They both were really good players last year, but we both got that wrong. Rookie of the year. I took the biased pick in Jaden Ivey. Clearly did not win it. You went with Paolo Banchero, who was the clear Rookie of the Year winner. So shout out to you for getting that one correct. Defensive Player of the Year. This is where the Minnesota Timberwolves starts to come into play. I thought Rudy Gobert was going to return to that DPOY level. I went with him. No, I was wrong. Walker Kessler will probably finish higher in DPOY voting, and he was traded for Rudy Gobert as a rookie.
Who did I have?
You went with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Never a bad pick. Never. It's a safe pick. He'll always be in that conversation, but Jaren Jackson Jr. was the Defensive Player of the Year. Most Improved Player. It's my favorite award to predict. I'm excited to do that as well this upcoming year, the Breakout Players list. Lauri Markkanen won it. It's because you don't know. Like, someone has to break out for it to do it. It's tough to pick that. I went with Tyrese Halliburton. Kind of a basic pick because everyone was picking him to break out. And he did, but he didn't break out like Lauri Markkanen did. You know,
it's
we
just
all
so-
kind of knew he was going to be that guy, whereas Lauri Markkanen wasn't. You went with Christian Wood to be the most improved player, who definitely had a struggle of a year. Came off the bench for most of the year for the Mavericks. And is a free agent this offseason.
The same way you did the Timberwolves thing I did with the Mavs.
Yeah, that's
Luka,
true.
MVP, Christian Wood, most improved. Like
I was pretty high on Chris. I remember when we did the breakout players list. We should also go over that list, that whole list that we did.
Mine was
and
terrible.
See who broke out.
2 years ago, I did Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah,
and I had the worst
for
pick
sure.
ever.
The next episode, we got a reminder. I'll write it down on my next page. Okay. Sixth man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon won it. I went with another basic pick, Tyler Hero, to win it again.
Classic.
Dude didn't even come off the bench. Like, I don't know why I picked that. You picked Malcolm Brogdon to win sixth man of the year, so 2 awards correct for you.
I really like that.
Definitely take that.
Like that for real.
Coach of the year went to Mike Brown of Sacramento. Clearly, we didn't get this because we both had Sacramento being terrible. More Timberwolves. I went with Chris Finch of the Timberwolves. Thought that it was his time.
Dude,
no.
The
Might
Timberwolves
get
believer.
fired. He could get fired. You went with Ty Lue of the Clippers. Not a bad pick.
It's just man. He's a good coach, so
Good
it's
coach.
a simple pick.
Exactly. Do we want to go over the All-NBA teams, at least like what we got right?
Yeah,
might as well. Okay,
or
so
terribly wrong. I like the wrong ones.
first
more
team
than the
All-NBA
right ones.
guards was Shea and Luka. I went with Luka and Trae Young, and you went with Steph and Luka, so we both got Luka correct. The forwards were Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. I had Giannis, KD, and Jokic, so I only got 1 right. You had Tatum, Giannis, and Jokic, so you got 2 right. And picking Jokic, I mean, pretty good pick. Second team guards were Steph and Donovan Mitchell. I had Steph and Ja, so I got that right. And you had Ja and Booker, so didn't get any of those right. And then Jimmy and Jaylen Brown and Jokic were the forwards, and none of us got any of those right. I had Tatum, Zion, and Joel Embiid. Man, if Zion would have played 25 games, maybe he could have been there. You had KD, Kawhi, and Joel Embiid.
Oh man.
And then third team guards were De'Aaron Fox and Damian Lillard. I went with Devin Booker and Darius Garland. I chose Darius Garland over Donovan Mitchell to make an All-NBA team. Wild. And you went with Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young. So we both didn't get those right, even though Donovan Mitchell obviously made an All-NBA team. Forwards, LeBron and Julius Randle were the winners. I actually got LeBron right on the third team, which I feel like is kind of weird.
Kind of wild.
To pick him to be the third team. I went with LeBron and Kawhi. You went with Jimmy Butler and Chris Middleton. I thought the Chris Middleton pick was funny just because he was like for sure going to miss the first like 20 games of the year.
Shout out Cash Money Chris.
And then center was Domantas Sabonis, and you got that right. Domantas Sabonis making third team All-NBA. I went with Karl Anthony Towns, more Timberwolves. So.
I'm low-key like that with Domantas Sabonis. Me and him are tight.
And then defensive teams, I mean, like...
There's just no way to get
We both
these.
got Drew Holiday on the first team. We both got... I got Evan Mobley on the first team. That was
I
it.
didn't pick him on the first team.
You had him on the second team. And yeah, on the second team, like none of us got OG Anunoby. None of us got Derek White. Bam. We both had Bam on the second team. That was it. Yeah, Dylan Brooks and Draymond. No one got them. And then rookie teams, almost 5 for 5 for you. You had Ivy, Mathurin, Keegan Murray, Paulo Banchero, but you had Tari Eason making it over Jalen Williams, which that'd have been crazy to get 5 for 5 there. I got Ivy, Mathurin, Paulo, I got 4 of them too. Yeah, I got Ivy, Mathurin, or no, I said Ivy. Ivy didn't make first team. Never mind. You didn't get 4
team.
right. Walker Kessler, we
Yes.
also didn't get. And then second team, we both picked Duran to make it, which is cool. You went with Ousmane Dieng of the OKC Thunder, who I think was in the G League most of the year.
I think so too.
And Christian Brown, probably a fantasy bias pick there, I would have assumed.
Low-key, though. Like, best players in the draft class.
Stepped up in the playoffs when it mattered most. And I did pick J-Dub to make second team
That's a crazy
All-Rookie.
one.
And we both picked Jabari Smith to make second team All-Rookie as the third overall pick, which is like... For us both to do that and to get it right, I mean, he was second team All-Rookie. Feel like that's pretty
If you
good.
think me and Skunk don't know ball at this point, why are you still listening to the podcast
Literally,
an hour
exactly.
and 15 minutes
Okay,
in?
I got to write down the most improved player thing so we go over it next episode. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye.